Okay, so we're gonna talk about how I got to FD. In my very first video, I talked about how I fell in cars when I came to the US, or when I was a little boy and I saw the F1 on TV. Outside of that, anything else I do, I'm a very competitive person overall. Like, I don't know, I compete against myself. Not only against others, but I find myself trying to better myself than what I was yesterday, even if I'm doing something, work or being just as a person. When I started drifting in 2015, went so hard, I would not skip any opportunity to go drift at any local events within like 3.5-4 hours distance. Back then we had Ready Set Drift, we had Club Blues North, we had Lebanon Valley Drift, Club Blues New Jersey, and we actually had Lock City Drift. So about 5 different clubs that I could attend. I was very consistent with Club Blues North. That was like my club for the first 2 years, 2015, 2016. And outside of that, when there's no event in New Hampshire, I would go and visit other clubs and drift. Second year, I got pretty good, I would say. A lot of people started telling me that I should go compete, that I'm pretty good, and I think towards the end of 2016 I found out what Formula Drift is, that there's FD drivers at a couple events, couple Pro EM guys. FD wasn't even that big of a thing to me because I didn't know a lot of guys from there. I thought it was somewhere different world, like I can't even reach that level. But I did meet a lot of guys from US Drift. Reese Marin, Tanner Monson, and a couple other guys showed up to some of the bigger events we had with their US Drift banners on the windshield. I was like, man, I was just dreaming to be one of those drivers, to have those windshield banners in my car and have a sick car. Towards the end of 2016, I look back and I realized how much I was drifting. We were building a house at that time, and I realized that I wasn't putting much work into the house. So I talked to my wife. I said, I want to go compete next year. And she's like, we need to finish the house and then you can do whatever you want. And I'm like, whatever I want? She's like, whatever you want. I'm like, let's go. So I took a whole year off in 2017 and I worked harder and I finished the house. We moved in around Christmas. By then, throughout the 2017, I did get to know more about competition side, about US Drift, that it's Pro EM series where you earn your license to be in Formula Drift. And I learned a little bit more about the process, what you got to do, where you're heading with that and everything. So that's how I got to know a lot of Pro 1 drivers. Pro Spec or Pro 2 back then just started a few years and they weren't even streaming it. So nobody really knew about Pro 2 guys. My very first Formula Drift visit in person was Canada. I absolutely loved it. Fell in love with, the smell of rubber, engines revving and that sound, and the crowd is hyped, and those battles, cars smashing into each other. There was quite a few of them. Basically, we had about 2-3 months before 2018 season starts of Pro EM season, and at that time I had a Z3, I had a Z4 M, and I had a Z4 non-M. I wanted to continue being a little different. I didn't know anything about car setup. I thought as long as car has a little power and rear wheel drive, you can do everything else just like everybody else, So I was looking into building my either M car or just do more power into regular Z4, but needed cage, seat, and suspension, everything. The only other person that I knew at that time that had that car was Michael Essa, and I looked him up. He had a Z4 back in 2011, 2012. I hit him up on Instagram and I asked him if that chassis is good chassis to do anything, to build for Pro EM, whatever, potential Pro 2 later down the road. He gave me some answers, and he's like, by the way, my old Z4 is for sale. And I did check his Instagram page and I saw that car that was a road racing car set up for the road racing. He's like, I can convert back to drifting, it won't take much, and it will be ready to shred. I got that information, that was like end of December, I think, maybe beginning of January. So I thought I had enough time. Before I knew it, it was end of January, beginning of February, and I realized that I don't have any time to build a car. And I'm not even a car builder, so I was gonna have a couple of my friends help me out, local shops, do the cage, and do whatever it needs to do. I contact Michael S again. I'm like, is the car still for sale? He's like, sure. I'm like, I'm coming in 2 weeks. Very short notice. Worked out. I went there, picked up the car, came back home. Then I found out that US Drift went back to the old style competition. It was a shootout, 2-day or 3-day competition with a double elimination bracket, where you basically you draw your random number, you put in a bracket, and you go against each other, and you have to lose twice to be completely out. I took my first win. I lost in top 16 twice. First in the winner's bracket, then the loser's bracket. That was very unexpected for myself. I was really hard on myself, but I only had like two events with that car. It was a completely different car, from Z3 200 horsepower to like 650 horsepower pro level car. It was too much of a car for me to handle, and I didn't know much what I was doing. I'm surprised I didn't crash it, didn't total it. Anyways, kept it on track for the most part. Driving back home, a little disappointed. Learned a lot of stuff, but I'm like, I don't want to give up. I want to earn my license this year. Found out that East End Drift is doing, there's another series a little bit further down south, doing a whole series, which is 4 rounds. That got me excited because I wanted to do several rounds instead of just one shootout thing. I went, and first round I was number 1 qualifier, got knocked out in top 8, like 5th place overall. And it's funny, I traveled whole Pro AEM season after that shootout. When I start traveling the season, I did it completely by myself. Like, no help, no spotter, no mechanic. I did share the trailer, and most of the rounds we shared it with Michael Wallace, another Pro AEM driver, a good friend, used to be up north. I helped him, he helped me. That was the team. We helped, the 2 drivers helped each other out. I did the second round, I got 3rd place on the podium. 3rd round, I got 2nd place on the podium. 4th round, I got 1st place on the podium, and I was like 3 points behind the champion. Finished the season 2nd in Pro AEM. I got my Pro 2 license. You basically have to finish top 3 in overall standings for Pro AEM season in any series you compete. There's like about 4 or 5 back there throughout the country. So yeah, I finished 2nd. I got my license, and I was ready to go to FD.